أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay, so good morning everyone. So today is the continuation of our discussion, but before that, let us pray first. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Okay, so last discussion ay natalakay natin ang patungkol sa isa sa mga 5 essential works of Arabic literature. Na-discuss na rin natin yung the Epistle of Forgiveness by Abu al-Ala al-Ma'ari, no? At na-discuss na rin natin yung pumapangalawa na the Golden Ode of Imrul Qais, no? So ang patungkol sa Epistle of Forgiveness by al-Ma'ari, ito yung kung saan may naganap na sinira yung pinakapinuno ng estatwa, no? Kasi sinira mismo sa mismong hometown ni Al-Ma'ari. So the purpose of that is upang humingi ng kapatawaran si Al-Ma'ari sa kanyang maling nagawa, which is yun yung sasamba sa isang rebulto, no? So yun nga, nabanggit din ni Al-Ma'ari na may dalawang sekto ang isang tao, no, sa buong mundo. Yun yung man intelligent without religion, yung mga tao na sobrang talino ngunit hindi maka-Diyos. The second one is the religious without intellect. Ito naman yung mga tao na relihiyoso ngunit wala silang talino or kaalaman, sapat na kaalaman, no? So yun yung patungkol kay Al-Ma'ari. Okay? So ang pumapangalawa naman dito ay yung kay Imrul Qais, the Golden Ode, no? So si Imrul Qais ay nakatira sa Najd in the century before the arrival of Islam, no? At yun yung pina-assignment ko sa inyo kung bakit binansagan si Imrul Qais bilang master of description, no? At kung bakit binansagan din siya as a master of techniques. So the answer of that is si Imrul Qais, dahil sa kanyang galing ay binansagan siya bilang master of description because he creates beautiful, precise accounts of the wildlife, and then binigyan din niya ng description ng yung mountains, the clouds, and the dark starry nights, no? So kung pinakinggan nyo ng mabuti yung nakaraang discussion natin, yung video, ay nandun yung sagot. Okay? So pina-assignment ko lang sa inyo upang matiyak ko na kayo ay nanonood talaga sa bawat video natin. And binansagan din siya bilang master of technique dahil gumawa siya ng katha na kung saan inihalin tulad niya yung katangian ng isang hayop sa iba pang hayop or sa iba, no? So yun yung about kay Imrul Qais, the Golden Ode of Imrul Qais. Now let's proceed to the third one from essential works of the Arabic literature, which is the Prophet. At isinulat naman ito ni Kahlil, Kahlil, nagkabaliktad lang yung H and A. Khalil Gibran. Okay? So si Khalil Gibran ay isa siyang half Lebanese and half Christian. At siya ay nagmula sa isang mahirap na pamilya and he moved to the United States in the 19th century. So ang kanyang isinulat ay nakasulat sa English, itong The Prophet. Ngunit ito ay panitikang Arabic. Okay? So sa prophet na ito or sa isinulat ni Khalil Gibran na ito ay is made up of 26 poetic essays, no? So on the human condition, it is spoken by a mystical figure who is about to depart on a journey. So isang grupo ng mga tao ang nagtanong kay Gibran kung ano daw yung kanyang pananaw sa kalagayan ng isang tao tungkol sa pag-ibig, sa pera, sa mga bata, sa trabaho, at pati na rin sa damit. Tinanong nila si Khalil Gibran kung ano ba yung kanyang own perspective, no, tungkol sa mga ganitong bagay, ang pag-ibig, sa pera, sa bata, sa trabaho, at maging sa damit. So sinagot ni Gibran yung tanong sa kanya, no? So ang tanging nasagot niya is your children are not your children. They are the sons and the daughters of life's longing for itself. So sinagot niya ito na may kasamang spiritual, no? Kumbaga galing sa kaloob-looban niya, at kumbaga buo niyang sinagot ito, at may pagkapilosopo yung pagsagot niya, no? At kahit na English ang mga salita niya or ang idiom na ito ay hindi makakailang Arabic. At sinabi pa niya, mahalin ang isa't isa. Okay? So ito'y payo ng isang propeta, no? Mahalin ang isa't isa. Ngunit huwag gumawa ng isang bono, kumbaga pagitan ng pag-ibig, no? So let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Yun pa yung kabilang sa mga sinabi niya. Okay? So, short lang naman yung patungkol dito sa prophet na sinulat ni Khalil Gibran. Okay? So, this work is actually written in English, but it is Arabic literature. Si Gibran, who came from a poor Lebanese Christian family, moved to the United States in 19th century. He and his contemporaries formed that became known as Exile School and wrote their works in both English and Arabic. So, yun lang yung tatandaan nyo, yung about kay Khalil Gibran, ano yung sinulat niya, saan siya galing na pamilya, at kung ano yung kanyang nagawa at nasabi. Okay? So now let's proceed to the fourth one from essential works of the Arabic literature. We have the Za'at by Sunallah Ibrahim. So itong Za'at naman ay sinulat ni Sunallah Ibrahim. Si Sunallah ay ipinanganak siya sa Cairo, Egypt, no? Sunallah was born in Cairo. Okay? So became a Marxist in his youth and spent several years in prison during the 1960s for his views. So dalubhasa na ginawa ang bawat isa sa mga kabanata na nagsasalaysay ng buhay ni Za'at. Okay? So nagsasalaysay din dito tungkol sa kanyang kasal, sa trabaho, at buhay panlipunan, na may isang serye ng mga pag-clip sa bahayagan at mga caption ng larawan na nagdidetalye ng mga pangyayaring pampolitika at pang-ekonomiya ng mga kasong pang-corruption, financial scandals, yung torture at utang ng mga dayuhan. Okay? Yun yung point ng Za'at na ito na sinulat ni Sunallah Ibrahim. Okay? So, ang nobelang ito ay nagbibigay rin ng isang kamanghamanghang pananaw na kung saan ay sinasabi nito kung ano ang nangyari sa mundo ng mga Arabs. Okay? So, sa paglipas ng 20th century and where all the dreams went, mahalagang mabasa ng sino mang nagdanais na maunawaan itong zaat na to na sinulat ni Sunalla. That's why the Arabs Spring came about and why. In many cases, it soon turned into a dark winter. Okay, so yun lang naman yung patungkol dito. It goes from the optimism of the early years following the revolution to the full-blown capitalization and corruption of Egypt in 1980s and 1990s of the last century. Ang pinakahuli na isinulat or isa sa mga nobelang sinulat ng mga Arabic literature is the Chronicles of Majnun Layla by Qasim Haddad. Okay? So, itong Chronicles or itong Majnun Layla ay isinulat na ba nito ni Qasim Haddad. So, si Qasim ay hindi nakapagtapos ng kanyang pag-aaral sa sekundarya. Okay? So, ipinanganak siya sa Bahrain, year 1948. And he left formal education early to contribute to his family's income. So, kagaya rin siya ni Sunalla Ibrahim na kung saan isa rin siyang revolutionary and also a writer. At siya rin ay nakulong noong 1950s dahil sa pagkakaroon ng political beliefs. No? So, sinulat ni Qasim Haddad ang Majnun Layla. Majnun Layla is a legendary figure in Arabic literature and one who is also celebrated in the literature of Persia, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. So, ang Majnun Layla means the man who has gone mad because he loves Layla so much. Okay, so ang Majnun Layla na to ay Majnun in Arabic term or the meaning of Majnun is kumbaga crazy, no? Crazy or nasobrahan ng pagkagusto dito kay Layla, no? So kung bibigyan mo ng ibig sabihin nitong Layla ay ito ay isang gabi, no? Kung ibibigay ang literal na meaning niya is gabi. And kung ibibigay mo rin ang literal na meaning ng Majnun is crazy. Okay? So that means Majnun Layla means the man who has gone mad because he loves Layla so much. So patungkol naman ito sa ang nobelang ito ni Qasim ay binubuhay muli ang sinaunang kwento noon, no? Ayon sa nobelang ito, patungkol ito sa dalawang magkasintahan. Sabi na, so patungkol ito sa dalawang magkasintahan na nag-end ang kanilang relasyon na hindi kumbaga hindi napagkompromisuhan, no? And maraming nagsalin sa nobelang ito. So ang tanging nakatumpak yung kanyang pagsalin ay sina Ferial Gazol and si Jan Verlanden. No, sila lang yung mga kasi marami yung nagsalin sa kwentong ito. Yung Majnun Layla na ito, ngunit may iilan sa kanila na naiba yung kwento. Maliban lang dito sa dalawang to, si Ferial Gazol and si Jan Verlander, na kung saan ay very tumpak yung kanilang pagsasalin sa kwentong ito, no, ni Qasim Haddad, ng nobela ni Qasim Haddad. Okay? So, by the way, class, sa Friday is magkakaroon kayo ng um, long quiz, maybe long quiz, or yes, ko-considered siya na long quiz kasi medyo mahaba, no? Yung mga mahaba yung items natin, maraming items natin. So, be ready on that, okay? Okay, so uulitin ko lang yung 5 essential works of Arabic literature. Okay, so we have the number 1, the Epistle of Forgiveness by Abu al-Ala al-Ma'ari. The second one is the Golden Ode of Imrul Qais. The third one is The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran. And the fourth one is Za'at by Sunallah Ibrahim. And the fifth one is The Chronicles of Majnun Layla by Qasim. So I have here video of Majnun Layla, no? So brief video lang, brief explanation about the Majnun Layla na sinulat ni Qasim Haddad. So panoorin natin at nang sa ganun ay lalo pang maintindihan ang ating lesson.
مجنون ليلى قيس بن الملوح.
Okay, so ulitin natin no kasi
Story
naglo-loading.
of Majnun Layla. Qais ibn al-Mulawah was just a boy when he fell deeply in love with Layla al-Amiri. He was sure of this love on the very first day he laid his eyes upon her at Maktab. Maktab is traditional school. He soon began to write a beautiful love poems about Layla, and he would read them out loud on street corners to anybody who would care to listen. Such passionate display of love and devotion caused many to refer to the boy as Majnun, meaning madman. One day, Majnun found the courage to ask Layla's father for his daughter's hand in marriage, but her father refused the request because it would be a scandal for Layla to marry someone considered mentally ill. Soon after, even though she was really loved Majnun, Layla was married an old and rich man. Majnun was full of sadness and went to live alone in the desert, with only wild animals to hear his poems to Layla. He eventually gave up hope for his
Okay, so yun pala yung kwento ni Majnun Layla. Si Majnun, yung pangalan nung lalaki na kung saan umiibig ng sobra kay Layla. So suddenly, yun nga, kumbaga hindi boto yung both family sa kanilang relasyon, kaya napaghiwalay sila, no? So at si Layla ay nakapag-asawa ng isang matandang lalaki. Kaya nung malaman ni Majnun ay doon na nagkaroon si Majnun ng kumbaga parang nawalan siya ng pag-asa, parang kumbaga pa nalungkot siya at simula nun ay nanirahan na siya sa isang disyerto, no, na kung saan ang kasama niya doon yung mga hayop. So let's continue watching.
And lived for him in the desert. Layla moved with her husband to the north of Arab's island. Few years later, Layla's husband has been died.
Yun na, namatay
And
yung
Layla
asawa niya.
was overjoyed that she will finally get to see her love, Majnun.
Wow.
But, according to tradition, She had to wait 2 years after her husband's death
As in?
to marry another guy,
Oh.
and not being able to see her lovely Majnun made her die of broken heart.
Wow.
When Majnun have heard of this, he returned from the desert to visit her grave. He threw himself into Layla's grave. He wept and wept until he died at the graveside of his true love.
Okay, so yun yung kwento about sa two lovers na ito. Grabe, hanggang sa huli ay hindi sila nagpatinag, no? Kumbaga pa nandun pa rin yung feelings nila sa isa't isa. Nung marinig ni Majnun na namatay si Layla, ay lagi lang siya doon sa libingan ni Layla hanggang sa doon na rin siya binawian ng buhay. Okay, so yun yung nobelang sinulat ni Qasim Haddad, no? So napakaganda pala. Okay? So I think that would be all today, and be ready for our for your quiz on Friday, no? So magpo-post pa ako ng isa pang lecture, no, sa Friday, and very short lang na discussion, and after that magkakaroon na tayo ng ipopost ko na ang inyong quiz. Okay, so be prepared na din doon sa ating first reporter, no, sa next week on the Monday. Okay, so ang pag-upload ng inyong mga reports is kailangan ahead of time, no, para naman hindi makasagabal yung pag-upload, no. Kaya nga minsan ay nahuhuli yung upload natin ng ating lesson due to the low connection, no. Okay, so that hanggang doon na lamang, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.